Good morning, everybody. My name is Barry Schwartz, and this is the Search Buzz video recap. Today is Friday, January 29th, and this is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at seroundtable.com. A lot to discuss. First, a possible Google search ranking update on January 27th. Google launched a large Google mobile search redesign that was really small. Google said that web stories can no longer be teaser content. They won't show that anymore. Google talked a lot about links and so much more, so stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Okay, so first up, like I said, there was a possible Google search ranking update. It was kind of a smaller one. It seemed to start sometime around January 26th at night. And then on Wednesday, January 27th, it kind of really picked up. I wrote about it this morning on Friday, January 29th. So if you want to catch it there, you could. But it does seem like both the chatter and in those SEO forums, as well as the ranking tools, noticed this change. It wasn't huge, but I think if you were hit by it, it could have been pretty huge. Some sites were reporting 40-50% traffic drops from this Google update. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but it's not huge widespread complaints. But those who were hit were really hit big. The next thing is Google launched over the weekend, I guess Friday afternoon last week, a new mobile search design. The truth is, usually when Google makes any changes to their search results in terms of design, pixels, and whatever, there's huge amounts of complaints. This one had almost no complaints. The reason is because it was a really small subtle design change. I'll show you some screenshots, but there's small little changes that Google made that really most people probably wouldn't notice, which I guess was Google's intent. So definitely take a look at that. We've seen multiple tests, and I've reported about multiple tests around that. But now Google has launched officially in the mobile search results. Google's, again, testing different fonts, sans serif fonts in the desktop results. Google's been testing that on and off. Google launched when you go to a video carousel in their actual search results, and you scroll through it, you'll see those videos actually show you kind of like a preview, like a GIF-ish preview. Google's been testing that for a while, and now it seems to be live. Also, the bigger news this week is that Paul Backus, I'm pronouncing the name correctly, announced that web stories, formerly AMP stories, could no longer be teaser content. So you're no longer allowed to go ahead and make a web story that teases somebody to actually click over from the web story to the article that is not a web story. Google said they no longer want to show that in the search results, so people going to the web stories want to see the web story, and they want to actually have the whole story and not a part of the story, not a teaser of the story. They want to actually read the whole story on the web story. So Google is saying you need to provide that there and not provide a teaser. Google is going to stop supporting datavocabulary.org markup format in search starting this Sunday, January 31st. Google initially said the deadline was last April, but Google pushed that off, I guess, because of COVID. And again, if you are using data vocabulary markup, switch it to structured data, switch it to schema, and you'll be set. Again, you have plenty of time to prepare for this. Google told us over a year ago that this would be happening. Also, Google spoke about links. So John Mueller spoke about links in two ways. One, he responded to somebody on Twitter asking, is it okay if I pay for do follow links, but I'm not paying for the links. I'm paying for either the content review process, approving it, or the time it takes to place the link. Not paying for the do follow link directly, but paying for the time or the approval process. And John Mueller said, no, still a paid link if there's a do follow and that's part of it. And stop trying to ask these weird questions because those are do follow links. And then John Mueller later this week said that he does not find digital public relations as a link building tactic to be spammy. He said, let me kind of quote you, I love some of the things I see from digital PR. It's a shame it often gets bucketed with spammy kind of link building. It's just as critical as tech SEO, probably more so in many cases. So there's John Mueller saying digital PR is okay for link building, and now what you're going to see is a bunch of people jump on the digital PR bandwagon and kind of ruin that space, which maybe has been ruined already, but we'll see. But it's nice to see John being positive about link building as opposed to negative. Then I wrote a story about how Google ranks web pages technically, but often web pages themselves, the individual web pages, are influenced by overall site scores. So we see this often when John Mueller said, if a new page comes up, it has to use the scores of the other pages on the website to determine how authoritative or maybe how fast. Site speed, of course, is used across the whole domain if they can't figure out the URL. And Google will assign site-wide scores often to individual page scores in the search results. So it's not only for new URLs, Google could do this across multiple URLs. So you saw with Panda and Penguin, and of course core updates, if a site gets hit by one of those, all the URLs generally are impacted by the site-wide scores. So yes, Google does rank individual web pages, but no, Google does have site level metrics that it uses across ranking for individual sites. So keep that in mind. Interesting bug discovered in Google search this week. It was temporary, it was a glitch. I can't replicate it, but somebody did a search for something and you just type in the query, hit enter, you get one set of search results, and the brand came up for that set of search results. I think it was for P. Morini Limited, a brand. But also when you start typing into Google search, it gives you search suggestions. Those suggestions showed an entity. And when you clicked on the entity version of that brand, it would give you different search results. It was a mix-up. John Mueller thought it was a bug. Gary said maybe it was some type of entity lag. It was a word he made up on the fly. It's not a legit word within Google. But it was very interesting to see that Google rank entity versus queries differently in Google search. John Mueller confirmed that, again, annoying interstitials on mobile can hurt your Google rankings, but he basically admitted that it's a small thing. You probably wouldn't even notice those ranking changes, which we covered when Google launched this mobile interstitial ad. Nobody really noticed a change, which is kind of sad. Google announced this week quietly that there's new structured or rich results support for price drop markup. So if using price schema or product schema, and Google automatically detects that a price went from, let's say, $50 to $25, Google might automatically show that drop in the pricing rich results, the product rich results in the search results. So that's pretty cool. There's some technical details there to make that work, but you're not submitting the price difference. You're just submitting your current prices and Google figures it out. Google has mistakenly sent tons of emails to website owners about verifying their sites with Search Console. The issue was they cut off part of the domain name. They cut off like the first 2 letters or characters of the domain name, and people thought they were sending them the wrong emails to verify the wrong sites. There was definitely a Google Search Console bug with reporting on the Google selected canonical directly in certain reports. So if you go to the if you go to the coverage report, then click on the excluded URLs to filter that, Google had an issue with certain types of categories where it would actually show you no Google selected canonical URL. Google confirmed that issue, and the fix should be out hopefully now or in any minute now. And there's also people complaining about AMP enhancement reports showing a dip in the number of AMP pages being indexed by Google. That seems to have been fixing itself as well, so just keep that in mind. Google announced yesterday in a video that Google Search found 25 billion spammy pages in the search results every single day. 25 billion pages in the search results every single day in 2020. Interesting. Google also launched a new Google My Business Insights analytics report breaking down platform and devices by action. So it would show you basically how many people viewed your business profile by Google Search Desktop, Google Search Mobile, and then Google Maps Desktop, Google Maps Mobile. I don't see that report yet, but people are seeing it now. Google has a new way of flagging business reviews in Google My Business. So if you're upset with a review, Google has a new workflow to report these business reviews. You can say they're off topic, they're spam, conflict of interest, profanity, bullying and harassment, discrimination or hate speech, as well as personal information posted. So you can definitely use that new review there. Google is testing red and white hotel map pins in the hotel results. So people are not going to hotels these days, but Google's still trying to innovate and make changes and testings around hotel results. Google has revealed their cookie alternative, which they call FLoC. FLoC stands for Federated Learning of Cohorts, which basically they said and revealed the metrics, basically saying it's almost just as good as cookies, while keeping the user still giving them targeted ads. And the way they do that is they take using machine learning, they take a sampling or a large data set of general users, anonymize that and then associate that with you based on certain click patterns. And they don't know who you are, but they're basically trying to figure out who you are based on click patterns and so forth, and then showing you what they think you want to see based off of the previous history that you have, or that not you have, but the group of people in your cohort have. Interesting take, and they say it's just as good. Google's testing a new label in the Google Ads and mobile search results, basically showing a site label. I'm not sure what this is. Here's a screenshot. Not sure why they're doing that. It doesn't make really any much sense to me. Microsoft Advertising for Bing Ads launched new filter link extensions. It basically gives you a way to show many more, maybe 3 or so, links in your Microsoft ads on Bing search, which is pretty cool. Google Australia, Google in Australia, I wrote a big thing on Search Engine Land about this, basically saying how Australia wants Google to pay for linking to news items, news results, news links. Also want Facebook and other people who link to news to pay for those links. Google said, no, we don't want to do that. We'd have News Showcase and other methods for you guys to make money. And now Google is posting, if you do a search in Google Australia, a big banner ad saying Google search is in the news. And you may have heard a new proposal, and it links to a video by the Google head of search the managing director of Google Australia named Mel Silva, basically explaining what their issue is with it and what their alternatives are, which is pretty interesting. And huge Google banner in there, which is pretty interesting. And finally, sad news. There's no easy way to say this. This is really sad news. Hamlet, who has spoken at countless conferences, wrote countless articles. He's the SEO of Python, super talented, super generous, super caring, super nice guy, has lost his battle with COVID. Young guy, wife, children, just super sad. The whole SEO industry, including myself, mourning. It's just super sad. There's no easy way to say this, and I hope everybody, including their family, could get through this time, be strong, and they have peace. I really do. There's a GoFundMe. You could catch that link on my blog post from yesterday on February 28th, or January 28th, I'm sorry. Just sad that we lost. He was one of the most giving, caring people that I've met in the industry. It's just sad. In any event, thank you so much for listening to the Search Buzz video recap. My name again is Barry Schwartz. This is the search news we covered over at the Search Engine Roundtable at SEOroundtable.com over the past week. Everyone have a great, safe weekend. I'll speak to you guys next. Goodbye.